بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين نبينا وحبيبنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. To start this particular discussion, I'm going to be sort of just reviewing a few slides on the PowerPoint. This is just kind of give me sort of like an outline of just initial presentation on the issue of Maliki Fiqh. I figured it made sense to start with a particular quote that I've taken from Sheikh al-Munawi in his Fayd al-Qadir, which really emphasizes the importance of the study of fiqh. And the translation of the statement, he says, Ibn Arabi said, dialectical theology, or ilm al-kalam, in spite of its nobility, is unnecessary for most people. Rather, for one person in the town to learn it is sufficient. But that is not the case with respect to matters of jurisprudence. People need a multitude of scholars of the sacred law. And were a man to die not knowing the nomenclature of dialectics, like the meaning of the atom, the accident, the body and what is of an embodied nature, the soul and what is of a spirited nature, Allah will not ask him about any of that. He will only ask people about what was his obligation to do that relate to matters of jurisprudence, practice, and similar things. Basically, beginning that with that statement is just to highlight that that though many different topics interest us, no particular topic is more important than the regular ibadats or acts of worship on a daily basis. And that being the case, and Allah expects us to carry these things out, then we still are expected to carry them out, but at the same time to carry them out according to a valid interpretation. A valid interpretation of, for instance, the prayer itself, or how we pay our zakat, or we perform the hajj and things like that. And the different schools have preserved for us different alternative or valid interpretations of the Quran and Sunnah, that we simply can choose one and take that and have relative I should say trust that what we're doing is actually something valid, and we don't have to be concerned too much all the time about whether or not there's evidence for this, evidence for that, because the history has preserved for us these schools, and Allah has told us to follow those people of knowledge. And trying to understand the fiqh of Imam Malik, one should be concerned about understanding what fiqh is itself. And but who can tell me, what is fiqh? What is it?
The laws of how to do wudu.
Laws how to do wudu?
Well, the laws of how to perform your actions.
How to perform your actions, okay. What else?
The interpretation of the Sharia.
Interpretation of Sharia. Also, what about, interpretation about how Allah exists, about His angels, and right. So Sharia, when Sharia, you mean like the laws, right?
Yeah.
Like what we do, how we practice. Or you talking about the beliefs?
No.
Okay, all right. Yes, you're on point. What else?
Understanding the religion.
Understanding
the religion.
Understanding the religion.
Oh, the religion. Understanding the religion, right? That was what the Prophet ﷺ said. Whoever Allah desires good for, He give him fiqh in the religion. But fiqh in that hadith doesn't mean fiqh as we understand it here. Fiqh in the hadith, the Prophet in his dialects, or in his language, in the language of the Arabs in general, prior to the development of the science of fiqh. Fiqh just meant understanding the knowledge. Whoever Allah desires good for, He will give him knowledge of the religion. He give him understanding of the religion. So that includes creed, practice, spirituality, all of those things. And so what about like just the things that people are always arguing about? What about like stuff about whether Allah has a hand and things like that? Is that fiqh?
It's aqidah.
It's aqidah. Okay, it's aqidah. You agree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anybody disagree? Okay, all right. I just want to be clear about that, because a lot of people think that that's what fiqh is, and so I've had experience with people who were like, well, they teach in fiqh, I'm not going anywhere near there. No, that's the stuff they're always arguing about. Anything you argue about is fiqh. We don't want any of that stuff here. None of that stuff we got the arguments about. But Imam Shafi'i has this standard definition of fiqh. And the fiqh is translated, his definition translates as, the fiqh is knowledge of the scriptural judgments related to human actions acquired from their specific proofs. So knowledge of the scriptural judgments related to human actions acquired from their specific proofs, which means that every action that we do has a particular classification given to it, and so to have the knowledge of that particular classification that corresponds to that particular action is, so for instance, to say intention is compulsory in wudu. So for wudu, intention is compulsory. So what is wudu for salat? Wudu for salat is a condition. It's compulsory. So if I know about what wudu is, and I know the ruling of wudu for salat, then I know mas'ala fiqhiyya. This is called a matter related to fiqh. And so when you learn a lot of those, or you learn a substantial number of them in all the different chapters of fiqh, eventually people call you faqih. You're faqih. You have knowledge of the judgment and the action, or an action and the judgment that corresponds to it. So, for instance, we learned that there are 5 basic classifications to actions. We have what's called haram. We all know what haram means. What? Forbidden. Yeah. But what else does it mean? What else does it mean? Impermissible. But what does that? I mean, how do we internalize that? What does that mean as a believer? How does that? It's bad. And how does it affect us? That knowledge. What does it lead us to do? Yeah, it's harmful to stay away from it. Why? But why we stay away from it? Because if we do it, then what happens?
God is displeased with it.
Huh?
God is displeased with it.
Yeah, God's displeased with me. And if He's displeased with me, then that might mean what?
Punishment.
Right, exactly. Subject to punishment. So haram is just not like you can't do it. Haram is if you do it, you're subjected to punishment. But if you don't do it, you get reward. Right? So that's what haram is. That's what it means for us. So you do it, you get punished, or you subject yourself to punishment. And if you abandon it, you get rewarded. You get rewarded. So somebody gives you, hey, take a glass of wine. They say, no. You're rewarded for it. For rejecting the act, you see. So haram is one classification. Wajib or fard is a second, which means all of us know what that is, right? Fard is obligatory. And obligatory, okay, a little bit more. And that knowledge that is obligatory leads us to do what?
Action.
Yeah, it leads us to do what? If it's obligatory, it leads us to do what?
Good deeds.
To do it, right? To do it, and to do it believing that it is a duty to do it, and if that is the case, that it's a duty and we carry it out with the right intention, then we get reward for doing it. And if we abandon it, a duty, then we are subjected to punishment. Right? Yeah. ما يعاقب على تركه ويثاب على فعله. Yeah. So if you don't do it, subjected to punishment. If you do it, you get reward. That's what fard is in a general sense. And there's some sub-classifications of it. You find differences between the Hanafis and the other scholars who say fard and wajib. There's a distinction between the two. We'll worry about that. But that's the second. So haram, wajib. Then we have what's called mandub. And mandub is what some also call sunnah, which means what? That it is something supererogatory or recommended. Right. So it's favorable, it's recommended. And if something's recommended, you get reward for doing it, right? But what if you don't do it?
You get punished.
You get punished?
No.
Okay, you don't get punished, right? So it's something that, there's no sin if I don't do it. But if I do it, I get rewarded for doing it. So do I have to pray 2 rakats after Maghrib? No, I don't have to. But if I do it, I get rewarded. Do I have to fast on Mondays? No. But if I do, there's a reward in doing so. So that's what we call mandub.